Right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. I am Gbemisola Boyede, and it's been a while on ATP Live, but it's my pleasure to be back today. We've had a lot of couple of public holidays, and I was not available, and so, but it's good to be back. So, welcome to ATP Live Monday. Um, Help us to share the videos and the link. I'm also going to do the same, and then we can start. So ATP Live Monday is a program where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children, and I'll try my best to answer your question in the next 1 hour. Just to remind you that if you have any questions after the live session, not to worry, you can always ask your questions on our Facebook group, Ask the Paediatrician, or you can also ask on ATP Family Facebook group as well if it's adult health related questions. So, welcome everyone. I'm also just going to try and share the videos so that everybody can see me, everybody can hear me. For those of you joining on Instagram, I can see you. Thank you so much for joining us. For those joining on Facebook, you're welcome. For those watching on YouTube, you're welcome as well. So help us to share the video. Let's share the link so everyone who needs to be here can get the opportunity to see us and to hear us. All right, just a couple of more minutes for me to just make sure that all the videos are pinned and all the videos in all our various platforms. So welcome everyone. And I hope everybody is safe. Actually, for those of us in Nigeria, Lagos, I hope you are safe from the current cholera going on. I think this Thursday I'll be talking more about cholera and how we can prevent it. So make sure you watch out for ATP hour. That will be on Monday. All right, so I think I'm almost done. I just need to spin the videos. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. Please remember to start with the age of the child. The age of the child is so important to a pediatrician because most of our answers depends on the age group. You know, we are one of those people that our constituencies is not a uniform one. Uh, so we have different answers for different age group. So please always start with the age of the child. Always try and give relevant information, but not to give so much details that your question gets cut off by Facebook, because that's what Facebook will do. If it's too long, I won't see the rest of it. So just go straight to the point. Go straight to, and please ask specific questions. Don't just give me information. Let me know what you want me to do with that information. Maybe you want some clarification or you want an answer. But if you just give information and you don't tell me what to do with that information, then I won't know what to do. And I don't like to make assumptions. So it's always good to be very, very specific with what you want me to do with the information you have provided. All right, I guess I'm almost done with all my sharing and all my pinning. I guess that is it, and I hope everybody can see me now and everybody can. Okay, so we're good to go. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions now. Welcome to ATP Live Monday. I am Gbemisola Boyede. I am a pediatrician. I am the CEO of the Paediatrician Foundation, and on ATP we're committed uh, to the health and the welfare of the children in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, but globally. But obviously, Nigeria is our primary constituency. And so we do a lot of health education, information, um, online and offline. We also do community medical outreaches. So I'm sure some of you may have been part of our outreach, maybe in a community near you. So welcome to ATP Live. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I've got 60 minutes to answer any question that you may have about the health of your children. So feel free to start asking them now. I can't see any questions yet on Facebook or Instagram. So feel free to drop your question and we will try to answer them. So you're welcome, everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm done with all my admin. Sorry, it took a bit of a time. But feel free to start to ask any question that you may have about the health of your children now, and we'll answer them. But beyond the live session, because some of you, maybe you are just joining us late or you are um, watching a repeat or a rebroadcast of the ATP Live Monday. I also want to welcome you, but just to let you know that if you are watching beyond Monday 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. West African time, that means you're not watching a live session. And if you're not watching a live session, if you put your questions, we will not be able to see them. I will not be able to answer them. So for you, you are welcome to go to our Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group, and that is where you can post your question, and we will try our best to answer your question. So feel free to post your questions now. All right. I don't know what is going on. Okay. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Lizzie Bansi on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us, those on Facebook and those on our Facebook group. Please, for those on the Facebook group, you need to click on the video and post your question. Don't just drop your questions under the Facebook post because I won't be able to see it. But if you put your questions under the video on the Ask the Pediatrician Foundation page, then that is the only time I will be able to see your question. But those on Instagram, on YouTube, you are welcome to just drop your questions directly under the video that you're watching. If you're also watching on our Facebook page, you're also welcome to drop your questions directly as well. So, welcome everyone. I think it's a slow day today, maybe because we've not been around for a while. All right, so welcome. I hope you've had a beautiful Monday. This is Ask the Pediatrician Live Monday, ATP Live Monday. Uh, Welcome. This program is brought to you by Ask the Paediatrician Foundation. If you have any questions about the health of your children, feel free to drop your question now, and I will try my best to answer them in the next. I got 45 minutes or so left, so try and answer your questions now. All right, I got a question on Instagram. Lizzie Bansi Interior. Thank you so much for your question. You said I have a twin in March. Okay, I guess you have a set of twins. You gave birth to a set of twins. and I want to start minute solid for them. So if you get birth in March, I assume your babies are like, this is June, so your babies are like 3 months or 3 months plus. You cannot start minute solids, okay? You cannot start minute solid for them. You should be breastfeeding your babies until they are 6 months old. All right, so don't start mini solids. I know a lot of mothers, actually mothers that have twins, we're always like, maybe you are, number one, most of you worried that maybe you're not producing enough breast milk. I want to reassure you that that is not true. You actually can produce enough breast milk for twins. And I have examples of people who have exclusively breastfeed their twins. So that is not even an issue. That is number one. There's some of you who, like, no matter how much we convince you that you can exclusively breastfeed, you may feel like you can't. But even if you can't, then the next option is for you to give formula, to give baby milk for the age of your baby, not solids at all. No pap, no solids until your babies are 6 months old. So there are specific science or research behind all these recommendations. I won't have time to go into all that with you, but if you want to trust us as your pediatricians, because you trust us with every other thing else, so please trust us that for your babies, you cannot give solid until your babies are 6 months old. That is when the tummy can handle solids. Most of the time, when we try to do things too early, you actually cause more problems. You think you're trying to save, I don't know whether it's money or save or whatever, but you're actually going to create more difficulties for these children. And then it's going to be you're going to end up being our customer, which you could have easily avoid by just giving your baby breast milk. So Lizzie Banty, for your twins, just give them breast milk only and you can do it. If you need inspiration, you can go to our Facebook. On this our Instagram page, you can look. We have a lot of short videos of mothers who have exclusive breastfeed twins to motivate you. Also available on our YouTube under the shorts, so you can watch them for motivation. But if at all you are convinced that you cannot exclusive breastfeed, no problem. But give formula until the babies are 6 months. Definitely not solid, and definitely not no pap, no solid until the babies are 6 months old. So I hope that is helpful. All right. If you want further clarification, feel free to. Okay, thank you. You said thank you, ma. All right, thank you so much for. I hope that means you're going to do the right thing. So I'm happy that you are still listening. All right. So if you need more information on how to go about complementary feeding for your babies, or how to feed your babies for the first 2 years of life, we had podcasts. You can go to Ask Dr. Gbemisola ATP podcast, available on all the podcasts. Google Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all of them. You can just Google it and you will get it. Or you can go to our YouTube channel. You can watch all our videos on that. Or we also have on our Facebook group, we have the guide section. We have guide one, guide two. Guide one is how to feed your baby with breastfeeding, and guide two is on complementary feeding, which we always recommend from the 6 month of life. And we also have it on our website. You can read. So if you want more information on how to go about it, on what our recommendations are, you can also go to our website and you can read more about that. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you. So if you are just joining me, I can see many more people have joined. Thank you so much for joining me this beautiful Monday evening. Gbemisola Boyede, I'm a pediatrician, and my uh, job this evening is to answer any questions that you may have about the health of your children for the next up to 7 p.m. So feel free to hit me with your questions and I'll do my best to answer them. Just to remind you, please start with the age of the child, give us the relevant, pertinent information, keep it short and simple, and ask very specific questions. All right, I got a question from Facebook. Omolke Abigail, I hope I got your name correctly. It said, what causes Shigella or Samu? I guess you want to write Salmonella. I hope I'm correct. Infection for an infant. So what you have written are the names of specific bacteria. So there's what we call the Shigella bacteria, there's what we call the Salmonella bacteria. So I guess what your doctors are telling you that these are the names of the bacteria that cause the infection that your child may have. Now, how did this bacteria get into the body? If that's the question you are asking, there are different ways they can get into the body. But most of the time, for things like Shigella, Salmonella, they tend to get in through the food of the baby. So, but you say your baby is 2 to 3 months, so I will expect your baby to be on breast milk only. But if you are giving water and you end up giving contaminated water, or making your baby's food with unwashed hands, or keeping the formula for so long, giving the room for the bacteria to multiply inside them, then that baby can have all these bacteria infection, through the food, that the baby is taking, or the water you're giving the baby. This is part of the reason we want you all to exclusively breastfeed your baby for the first 6 months of life, and pay attention to hygiene, especially hand wash and all that. Okay, so those are the common ways that infection, a bacterial infection, gets to baby. It can also come through blood and all that, but those are not as frequent. So please, hygiene, exclusive breastfeeding will protect your baby from all these infections, and maybe do not need to go to the hospital. All right, I got another question from Instagram. So I'll be going Facebook to Instagram and back and forth, and hopefully we may also get something from YouTube. Mimi Spice, say good evening, ma. Is it a must we must give a 4-year-old Agbojedi? Okay, thank you for your question. Number one, you don't even need to give Agbojedi to anyone, whether 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. It is not something, it is not even a must. And number two, it is not something you should even do at all. In other words, if I can turn your question around, you must not actually give it. Okay, we don't want you to give children ABA concussions, or so-called agbojedi, or whatever they call it, because these so-called herbal remedies, most of them are made with a lot of leaves. That's not the only thing there. And some of these leaves, there are certain things that may be good in them, but there are also certain things that may be bad. And there's some of them, they tend to make them with alcohol, which we all know is very terrible for the kidneys and the liver. So we don't want to give your children things that can damage their livers, things that can damage their kidney. So please do not give any so-called agbojedi. If your child is sick, you don't know what is wrong, please don't make assumption of jedi jedi. Don't give any agbo jedi jedi. Please, and please take your children to the hospital. See my colleagues there. They will be able to talk to you, and they'll be able to work out what is wrong with your child and recommend appropriate treatment. One of the reasons why we're having a lot of people with damaged kidneys now needing liver kidney transplants and all that, some of them, the kidneys were damaged by all these so-called um uh what do you call it now, ogbo or herbal remedies that people are giving these children. So please, please, I beg you not to give your children all these things. And for us, as some of you may argue and say, okay, even some of our drugs, so actually we made them from herbs. That is true. But before we give drugs to your children, do you know that we normally tell you this is the correct dose you should give? And we also even tell you these are the side effects. And we tell you this is the quantity you should give, because even this ordinary paracetamol that all of you can just go and buy and give to your children. There's an amount of paracetamol you can give to your child that would damage their liver. So that is why everything has a dose for each age group. But when it comes to agbo, who tells you this is the dose? They just say just keep drinking it as much as you like. And that's not the only thing. No purification, no preparation. Some of the other things that are not good inside. How do you know which one you're removing? You just drink everything. So please, no herbal remedy, no agbojedi for our children. Thank you very much. All right, so let's move on. Yusuf Moturayo is saying, how many days does it take for milk to dry in the breast? Okay, after weaning. All right, thank you so much, Moturayo, for your question. Actually, the answer, there's no specific duration. It varies from one person to another. So, but within a few days to a few weeks, we expect your milk to stop flowing, because breast milk production is based on demand and supply economy. So it is demand and supply. So if you win your baby and your baby is no longer sucking on the breast, then most of the time the milk will just dry up. So within weeks. So but sometimes it take a bit longer in some women. So we recommend you wear firm bras. We recommend that you don't press the breast so much, but sometimes it could be quite heavy. You can take painkillers. Some women even take the doctors may recommend diuretics for them. But the most important thing is that if it is too heavy, sometimes you can just apply like warm compress. So you put clothes in a warm water, squeeze out the water and just place it. That will help the milk to flow out a bit, and then the evidence will be less, and just take painkillers. But within 2-3 days, most women their breasts are dry, because once your baby is not sucking on it, the milk will dry up. But it may take up to a few weeks in some women. Some women say they keep seeing their milk even for months. So such women sometimes may have a high level of what we call prolactin hormone in their blood. And if that's the case, if you're still seeing you've weaned your baby, but you're still seeing breast milk for several months, or some people even a year, you have to go to see a doctor, because that means that your prolactin level may be high, and that means the doctors may have to give you some medication to bring down the prolactin level, and that may also help dry up your breast milk. But I'll just give it at least a couple of weeks, or at least even 1 month, before you begin to worry about it. All right. um Okay, let's go on. Welcome everyone. If you have any question, please ask your questions. I got a question from Happy Girl again. Please, what causes cracked mouths and cracked nose with rash and eczema for 6-year-old baby? Um, I won't know what causes it unless we see your child. So there are some things that we cannot just say this is the cause just because of one line statement that you've made. So I'm not sure, because you say yes, rash, there's eczema. So eczema, we tend to use that word for a specific diagnosis of a particular kind of a rash. So I'm not so sure whether you're using it loosely to refer to rashes, or you're actually using it to refer to something which may not necessarily be what I understand by the word. So, but if your child is having rashes and mouth peeling or nose peeling, you need to see a doctor. When you see the doctor, they will ask you more questions. They will examine the child, and then they can tell you what to do. But it's definitely not normal for a 6-year-old to have any form of rashes or cracked lips, or this thing can even happen in children who are malnourished. It can happen in children who have other form of illnesses, infections, and all that. So there are different things that can be responsible. So the best thing is to see a doctor for a proper evaluation, and then they can now tell you what is going on and what to do. So that is what I'm going to recommend for that. All right. Thank you so much for those who are joining us. I've got Aisha Haderi Bigbe. Say good day, Dr. Gbemisola. Thank you for the lecture. You're welcome. I'm not sure I've given any lecture today. I'm just answering some questions. So, what is the cause of different fetus weights in multiple pregnancy of different placenta? I mean, it's just the normal. We're all different. It's just like asking you why is your weight different from my weight? It's the same reason. We're all different. So as long as the babies are not the same, even if they are twins, they are say, and they have different placenta, they are different babies. Even if they are not, even if they share the same placenta, they are different babies. So they're not going to have the same weights. Okay. So it is normal for everybody to be different. It's just like when babies are born too, some babies will weigh 2.5, some people weighing 4.5, some people weighing 3 kilos. So there's normal variation, and what is normal is even a range. There's no absolute figure that is normal. So 2.5 to 4 is still a normal range for weight for babies. So that is number one. And if there are other issues with the babies and your doctor thinks there's something going wrong with the children, the fetus in the womb, they can evaluate them. But the weight being different, that is absolutely normal. We don't expect the weight to be the same in the first instance. All right. I don't have any questions still on Instagram. Instagram people ask questions. So we'll move on. Facebook people are still firing on. Let's try to ask another question. What is the best chocolate beverage for a year old? Since they can't take no, we don't say children cannot, we say they cannot take chocolate beverage below the age of 1 year. Below the age of 1 year. So after the age of 1 year, you can give. But please remember that beverages is not the it's not compulsory number one for children to take beverages. That is number one. It's not even compulsory for them to take, say, if you want to give them, that's fine, but you can give any brand that you want. There's nothing like the best chocolate, just like saying what is the best formula or something. There's nothing like best. Give whatever you think you want to give, but please, the goal is that that should not be the only thing you are loading your children with. Some of us, you load your children with these beverages morning, afternoon, and night, and then you will complain that they don't want to eat other food, because most of those beverages, they are loaded with sugar, and so children take them, they like the taste, and they want more of it instead of eating the real food. So we even though it is okay for you to give chocolates or cocoa beverages, it is not something you have to give. That's number one. And it's also not something you have to give every day. That is number two. And it's not something you have to give all the time. So please aim to give your children healthy food. Healthy food. Let them drink water. Let them drink normal milk. Those are better options than the cocoa beverages. Let them eat fruits. Let them eat the veggies. Those are better options to give children. So it's not even compulsory for children, number one, to take the cocoa beverages. And if you must give, please don't give it to children below the age of 1 year. And please always be very careful when you quote us, because I'm not sure with anybody have ever said that you cannot give this particular brand or that particular brand for children who are 1 year old. That's not what we said. What we said that below the age of 1 year, don't give chocolate beverages, give only water and milk. After the age of 1 year, yes, they can take everything just like they can take anything you also take as adults. But please make sure the goal is not to be loading children with junk food. We want to give them healthy food to eat. And fruits, veggies, those are better options than giving all these so-called sweet beverages, and juices and stuff. The more natural things you give your children from your own kitchen, the better for the children. I hope that is helpful. All right. So if you still have any question, feel free to ask your question. We still have 30 minutes to go in the program. I can't see any question right now on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. Just to remind us that on I think I've answered that one. Thursday I'll be talking about cholera, because we have a cholera outbreak right now in Nigeria, and especially in Lagos. And it's really a shame. Really, we shouldn't be having such kind of outbreaks. But we'll talk about it, what is causing it, and more importantly, how do we prevent it. So watch out for ATP Hour on Thursday. We'll be talking about cholera. Okay. So just watch out for that. But if you have any question, feel free to drop your questions. The time that we have now. And just to remind us that if after the live session you still have any question, not to worry, you can always go to our Facebook group and you can ask your questions there 24/7, Mondays to Saturdays. So Monday to Saturdays, 24 hours every day on our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatricians. You can ask questions that relate to the health of your children, and we'll be there to answer it. If it's an adult health issues, you can put it on ATP Family Facebook group as well. So Monday to Saturday. The only day you won't be able to ask questions on our group is only on Sundays when we usually take a break. All right. So thank you. Okay, I got the question from one Tajudeen, Annie Tajudeen. How can one make a 2-year-old to eat well? Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. As a pediatrician, one of the questions we get asked all the time, or most of the time, or maybe the most frequently asked question to a pediatrician is, how do I get my child to eat? Because sometimes mothers are just so frustrated about getting their children to eat, and actually these toddlers, they just don't want to eat. And I think most of us as mothers, sometimes we take um our we give ourselves pass mark on how successful we are in getting our children to it. Number one, I just want you to first of all get yourself free from that notion that, so if you're able to feed your baby well and they're able to finish whatever you put on the plate, that means you're a good mother. And if you are not able to get them to eat, that means you're a bad mother. That is not true. That is number one. I hope before I even answer your question, I want to dismantle some of these misconceptions, because it creates a lot of frustration for mothers. That's number one. Number one, your success as a mother, it is not based on how successful you are in getting your children to eat. So you can be a very good mom and your child doesn't want to eat, okay? And so it has something to do with you. That's number one. Number two, it's also not about how much your baby is going to finish on their plate. Some of us, we put so much on the baby's plate and we expect them to finish it. And if they don't finish it, then we get upset about it. So get out of that mindset. Number three, it's also not how fast they're able to finish their food, okay? And then it's not about, they must eat a particular food. And because I see a lot of mother ask me questions like, oh, my baby is eating every other thing else in the house, but when I give them maybe a particular cereal that they have bought in the store, and because they have fancy names and they think all their friends' children are eating that particular brand, then if your children are not eating it, the so-called baby food or this particular brand, then that means there's something wrong. Again, it doesn't have to be. Okay, so let's start. I hope I've kind of removed all the pressure on you first. So number two, pressure. The second thing I want to address is, when you say eat well, we need to first define what is eat well. Eat well is not about quantity. It's not about the load or the amount of food that the baby finish. It is about the quality, that the child is eating. So let's also start with that. So when we talk about eating, it has to be good quality food. It doesn't have to be just maybe finish this big bowl of pap or big bowl of rice or eba or semo, no. So for children, there are different classes of food. And when we talk about classes of food, we have about five, or if you like, six of them. So we have what we call the energy giving food or carbohydrates. And this can be grains like your cereals, your pap, your millets, your maize, your rice, or you can be tuber like your yam, your potato, sweet potato, Irish potato, all sorts of tuber. And then we have the bodybuilding food or the protein. So the protein can be animal protein like your meat, your fish, your egg, or it can be plant protein like your beans, your granules, melon, and all the rest. And then we also have things like what we call welfare food that gives all the vitamins and the minerals. So we have things like your vegetables, all sorts of vegetables, your tomato, your carrots, and all that. And then we have fruits, your orange, the citrus fruit, the oranges, then we have things like pineapple, watermelon, all sorts of fruits. So this is another class of food. And then of course you have your dairies. So dairies like your milk and your cheese or your yogurts. And then we have the fats. So fat, your butter, your palm oil, your groundnut oil, cheese, and the rest of them. Cheese can be dairy, no fat. And then you have water. All right. So these are the different classes of food. And whenever we are giving our children food, we need to make sure we mix all these different classes. So there must be the carbohydrates, maybe about usually the biggest 35 to 40% of them. Then you have your protein, maybe about 10 to 20% of them. Then you have your welfare food, your fruits and your veggies, which can be another maybe 30 to 40%. And then you have your dairy. The fat usually in small quantity, maybe less than 1% and all that. So we have to mix all these food classes together. And at least we have what we call my plate. If you go online, if you search my plate, it gives you an idea of, so they've divided those plates into like 4 portions, just to help mothers to remember that at every point you must have at least 4 different classes of food at every point in time. So there must be a portion for the carbohydrate, the protein, and all that. That is when the baby is eating well. And then there's an amount that the baby has to eat based on their age. And then it's also the frequency of which they have to eat. And also there's also the texture. But for a 2-year-old, we expect a 2-year-old to be eating everything the family is eating. And they should be on full solid, and it should be 3 to 4 times a day, 1 to 2 snacks in between. And the snacks are healthy snacks. We're not talking biscuits or pastries. We are talking fruits and veggies as your snacks as well. So that is the concept of what we want children to eat. And so when your child is eating those variety of food, different food classes, 3 to 4 times a day, and then you are giving, that is when your child is eating well. And now some children are very good. Whatever you put on the plate, they will eat it. However, some children are very fussy, and no matter what you do, they will never eat everything on your plate and all that. And usually around this age of 1 to 2, they actually, that's the age when, number one, as children are getting older, they are able to eat more complex food, and they don't need to take as much quantity. So that's another problem mothers have, because when the babies are smaller, you're giving a lot of milk, so the volume is a lot. But as your children are getting older and they are taking the solid, they don't need to take as much volume. And so some mothers sometimes don't understand that, and they expect the children to still finish the same volume of pap, and they want the same volume of milk, that is the same volume of pap that the child has to take. No, we also need to know what is the amount quantity. So for a 2-year-old, we expect them to take what we call a full cup of food 3 to 4 times a day, and that full cup is like 150 meals. That's or let's just say 150 to 200 meals of, that's like the average quantity. You don't really need to measure everything, just to give you an idea. So that is all you need to do. So number one, you now understand the content of the food you need to give, how frequently you need to give it. And then there are some children that are just fussy eaters. So for fussy eaters, you can never win the battle of forcing them to eat, because that some others will give food and the children don't want to eat it, and then you begin to have a battle. You're never going to win that battle, because the 2-year-old, their self-will is something else. So they are getting through the age where they begin to assert themselves, and they want to, I can take decision for myself. So what you need to do is to use some principles. So just a few of those principles. Number one, let everybody eat together at the same time as a family. Some of us, we learn to feed our children as a chore, like something you have to do. And then like one of the things you have to take off your box. Is as much as possible, let the whole family sit together. Let the 2-year-old know that eating is a normal thing. Daddy is eating, mommy is eating, so there's no reason why I should not eat. But if you just want to feed the 2-year-old separately and leave the rest of the family, the 2-year-old will think it's a punishment for them. They won't know that it is normal. So be a model. You also sit at the table, put something in your own place and all that. And that's why some babies, they want to eat what is in your own place, because they think, oh, maybe what mommy is eating is actually better. But if you're all eating at the same time, eating the same thing, then the child does not see it as a punishment. Then, like I've talked about variety, and then for these children, sometimes you may want to experiment with colorful plates, colorful cutleries, maybe their favorite particular character, cartoon character. You can buy plates or brands of their spoons and cups. Some children love that, so because of that alone, they'll be motivated, to eat. And of course, make sure their food is colorful. Let's have all the colors, let's have the greens, let's have the oranges, let's have all the fruits and veggies. They will give you opportunity to experiment, and then let the food be tasty. And then sometimes the way we some of us cook our children's food, we make it so bland, so tasteless. So please, let's make the food tasty. It's okay to add a little bit of salt to make the food tasty. It's okay to add a little bit of sugar in the pap or the cereal. So that is fine. Everything is about moderation. So these are some of the strategies we use. And if children don't eat what we offer, don't quickly offer them alternatives, which is what most of us do. You just begin to give them the biscuits, then you give them the cheese balls, then you give them all those junks, and then you wonder why they don't want to eat because you're giving them something else to replace the amount, the food in their tummy, so their tummy is full. So don't give them junk. If they don't want the food, take the food away, put it back. Then when they are hungry again, children don't starve. That's one of our maxims as pediatricians. They don't starve. So when they want again, you bring back that food for them. Then they know that, okay, And some children like certain food. So if they like certain food, it's okay to give them more of what they like. Just give them that. But you may also want to sneak in, your veggies and your protein. So for example, some children like things like pap, like porridge, so you can blend your, like if you make a smoothie, you can blend your veggies into the smoothie, the banana into the smoothie. They won't even see it. Your peas, you blend this, your carrot, you would have blended it and mix it together, and they won't say it. So they will just eat it. The same thing, you can break your egg, making your, for example, maybe you're making potato, you break the egg into it instead. So the children won't even say it. So these are the little tricks that you can also use so that's how to get the children to eat. But sometimes you just have to be patient, and sometimes you just have to be persistent. So I hope this is helpful. Our time is going, so I have a question on Instagram. Let me go to it, and I hope that is helpful for the person who is asking how to make our babies eat well. All right, so question on Instagram, BC Shams. Good evening, doctor. Well done, ma. How do I recognize measles in a toddler? Okay, it's not your responsibility to diagnose measles as a mother. And actually, I don't even like mothers making those kind of diagnoses. If your child has fever and has rashes, take the child to the hospital. It is my job and the job of my colleagues to say it is measles, it is heat rash, it is chicken pox, it is this, it is that. Because there are so many things that can look like measles, but they are not measles. In fact, there are things that look like exactly like measles, but they are not measles. We call them mobiliform rashes. So the rashes that look exactly like measles, but they are not measles. There are reasons for that. So, but the information we have about the child will help us to know that, oh, this is measles. For example, a child cannot have measles without having fever first, red eyes, runny nose, and cough. So the rash will only happen after those other three things have happened. So if your child has what look like rashes that look like measles, but your child didn't have fever, didn't have cough or cough, catarrh and all that before, it is very unlikely to be measles. It is a rash that look like measles rash, but it's not measles. Antibiotics, for example, giving Ampiclox, Amoxil, some children will react to it, and the rashes they are going to have will look exactly like measles rash. So that is why it is not your responsibility to make a diagnosis. So, and for example, you see your child has rashes on her legs. That is already tell me it's not measles, because measles rash do not start from the legs. Okay, measles rash starts from the what we call the hairline on the face, and then it will spread down. So there's a information we will see. There's a way the rash will look. There's the information you will tell us of what happened before the rashes even um come up, and then the way the rashes spread and the way it clears already we will know. So even from the information you've written to me, measles rashes only on the legs is not measles. It won't be measles because measles rash do not start on the legs. So that means there's a rash happening to your child. See a doctor, they'll be able to tell you what it is. So that is how we normally make diagnosis. Please, because I see a lot of mothers asking us, oh, I think my baby has itch rash. Mothers make only three major diagnoses when it comes to rashes: itch rash, measles, chickenpox. Those are the three rashes that mothers always make diagnosis of, and 99% of the time they are wrong. Okay, and so I don't want mothers making diagnosis. Reason why it's so important that you don't do is because when you make the wrong diagnosis, your approach or your treatment is going to be wrong as well. And sometimes you actually make things worse. Another thing I'm going to quickly chip on that is that apart from the wrong diagnosis mothers make, is this belief that once a baby has a rash, then there's a particular product. I'm not going to mention the name because I'm not going to advertise for them, that there's a particular product you have to use, that once you use that product, it's as if it's a fix it all for all rashes. And people ask me questions like, oh, my baby has this rash and I've used this particular product, and they're like shocked that the rashes have not gone after they've used those products. And I'm also shocked that they are shocked. Okay, so there's no particular product that clear or fix all rashes. So, and sometimes when you use the wrong product or the wrong approach to the rashes, you actually make them worse. You actually make the rashes worse. So please don't make self-diagnosis of rashes. Two, don't apply anything. If you don't know what it is, in medicine we say leave it, leave well alone. It's better to do nothing than to cause harm. So if you notice a rash, you don't know what is causing it, you don't know why it is there, don't do anything, don't apply nothing, don't apply any powder, don't apply any cream, just leave it alone. And if it's getting worse, sometimes some rashes just need for you to leave them alone. They're going to go on their own. Sometimes some rashes just need for you to stop doing the wrong thing you're doing. Some children are reacting. Maybe it's the cream you're using, maybe it's the powder you're applying, maybe it's the soap you're applying that they're reacting to. And the treatment is just simply stopping those things, and the rashes will go on its own. So, but however, some rashes could be due to infections, viral, bacterial, fungal, So, and then those are the ones that doctors have to treat. Or some could even be due to allergies, and we need to know what the child is reacting to. We have to give anti-allergy drugs. But please don't make self diagnosis of rashes, and let us be the one to make it, and let's be the one to treat it, because I see some rashes, and because parents have done the wrong thing, the rashes are worse. So just leave it alone. You can post a picture of your rash, of the rash, on ATP Facebook group. We will look at it, and then we can advise you on what to do. Sometimes we just tell you don't do nothing. Sometimes we tell you, oh, you have to still come and see us in the hospital because we need to ask you more questions and all that. But please and please and please don't make self-diagnosis of measles, chickenpox, eat rash. Please don't, because most of the time we make wrong diagnosis, and wrong diagnosis leads to wrong uh, uh, actions, and wrong action make things worse. So, and somebody was asking the other day that please also let's not bleach our babies, because some of us have this attitude of adding certain medication to the cream of the babies, and we do it all the time. So I've seen mothers adding from A, Skinel, and all that. I mean, I've written a memo on it before, but let me just say it again. Please don't mix anything into your baby's cream. It is a criminal offense to do that. Okay, don't. Most of those creams I've mentioned, they contain steroids. When you apply steroids to baby's skin, it gets absorbed, and steroids have very terrible side effects. Okay, some of them mothers do them because they want the baby's skin to be fair. And I always tell mothers, black is beautiful. Okay, your baby doesn't have to be fair. Most babies come out looking fair, because they've not been exposed to sun and all that. So it doesn't mean that they are fair. If you are black, your husband is black, or your the grandmothers are black, or grandfathers, your baby will be black. There's no then, and the fact that your baby is black does not mean anything is wrong with the baby, and does not mean your baby is less. Let's not start treating our babies with low self-esteem from birth. Some of us have low self-esteem and we start to put it on this our innocent babies. Please, there's nothing wrong with a baby who is black. Black is beautiful. And when a baby is fair, it's okay. If your baby is fair, you don't need to maintain nothing. Your baby's skin will be fair. You don't need to apply any special cream. You don't need to apply any special product. Baby that is fair will be fair. And baby that is black will be black. You don't need to apply nothing to make the baby black. So, because some people say, oh, it is the Vaseline. Oh, it's the shea butter. It is not. Baby is black. Baby is black. Baby is fair. Whether you use Vaseline, shea butter, your baby will be fair. So please, let's not mix any dangerous products into our baby's cream. Use natural product, your oil, diagbon, coconut oil, shea butter, Vaseline Blue Seal. If you have money, you can afford it. You can buy the hypoallergenic product like Sebamed and all those kind of things. But please don't mix Fombacase, Kenil, which other one? There's another one, ABF or whatever cream. Please don't mix it into your baby's cream. And your baby have rashes, come see us and we'll be able to deal with it. I hope that is helpful. All right. I can't see any more questions. All right. Thank you. Thank you. But like I said, on Thursday, watch out. I'll be talking about cholera because we have an outbreak of cholera right now. And if there's any motivation for you to go and do exclusive breastfeeding, if your baby is less than 6 months, please, the fact that there's cholera outbreak tells you should just give your baby breast milk. Don't give any water that is contaminated. Cholera kills, okay? And let's make sure we're washing our hands. Let's make sure we're boiling our water. Let's make sure it's a disease of hygiene. It's poor hygiene. That is how cholera gets to people. So we just need to up our hygiene, our hand washing, our boiling of our water, making sure food are covered, properly cooked. When we change our baby's diaper, we wash our hands before and after. These are simple things that we can do, but I'll be talking more about that on Thursday when I'll be talking about this during the ATP hour. All right. I have 5 minutes left to go, so I'll be rounding up. But like I said, if you have any questions after I'm no longer live on on Instagram, on Facebook, that's what I meant. Feel free to go to Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group and post your questions there. We always say Mondays to Saturday, and our main focus is health education, health information. We're not an online hospital. Some of you come with just one-liners and you want us to give you a diagnosis and treatment. I'm sorry, we won't be able to do that. It's not an online hospital. What we do is health education. We don't want the baby to be sick in the first place, so we provide health education, health information. Now, of course, if you ask us about sick babies, we will tell you what to do, whether it's something that, okay, you can just watch and wait, or whether it's something that you need to take the child to the hospital for. So please don't get upset with us when we say you have to go to the hospital, because it is not everything that we can fix on social media, and it's not everything we can fix on Facebook. I can't touch a baby on Facebook and I can't put up a line on your baby. And there are some things that are emergencies. Somebody is struggling to breathe, somebody is collapsing, somebody is having convulsions. You have to go to the hospital. Those are emergencies. So they are the when not to ask the pediatricians online. Those are the I have to go to the hospital straight away kind of questions. But some issues that are, oh, what do I do to get my baby to eat? How do I feed my baby? How do I, those kind of things. We can take our time and we'll try and answer your questions and point you in the right direction. So you're welcome to our Facebook group and you can post your questions there from Mondays to Saturdays. And we're still doing our outreaches in schools and the communities in Lagos. We had an outreach in Iju last Saturday, and I'm sure we've had some in some of the school near you. We empower our students with how to do first aid care. So we are welcome to donate to support us, and you're welcome to be part of that, our offline programs as well. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's been a while I've been on live, so I guess that is why many people are no longer, they are not around today, but it's okay. I'll be here again next week, Monday, by God's grace. And we'll be having this 1 hour session again to answer any questions that you may have about the health of your children. So don't forget to join me every Monday at 6 p.m. Nigerian time, West African time, and also on Thursday, 10 a.m. on all our platforms and also on Fresh Waves Radio when we're doing the ATP hour. So thank you, everyone. I still got a couple of minutes left before I sign off finally. So I'm just waiting if there's any last minute urgent question. If not, no need to worry. We'll do it again. But you're welcome to post it on Facebook. All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be signing off, and I hope to see you again next week by God's grace, God willing. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and it is bye from me. Bye bye. 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 Bye.